Did you miss me? Yeah.
Hey there guys, it's been a while, hasn't it? I think 6 months since my last video. That's honestly unacceptable on my behalf, but much like many of you this year, I probably have reasons to be doing stuff other than YouTube. I'm not proud of it, but I guarantee you I'm going to be updating you guys pretty soon, maybe sometime in between World Juniors, maybe after the World Juniors, maybe tomorrow, whatever. But anyways, let's get to the bigger picture. The IIHF World Juniors are back on, and we're starting off today on Christmas, a bit different than every normal year. For the first time in 15 years, actually, we're seeing the tournament kick off on jolly old Christmas Day. So basically, this was the best day of the year for a lot of people who doesn't want to kick back and enjoy some World Juniors with the family? Into the games here, though. We ignited the day off with a battle between Switzerland and Slovakia. And right before puck drop, it was announced that the 18-year-old Simon Latkoczy would take the starting role from Samuel Lovey. For now, it's unknown why Lovey didn't get the start, but anywho, definitely going to be a thrill of an experience for the young Tendy, taking in the lead in front of a very skilled Slovak team. Early into the first, it was obvious head coach Robert Petrovicki got into the minds of his players after an abysmal game in exhibition against the Czechs. The Slovaks were peppering the Swiss goalie Thibaut Faton early on, 12 shots in the period with a couple of decent power play opportunities. Switzerland came close a couple times of their own, including a shot off the post by Chilliwack chief Ray Fust, but since they attained 3 penalties in the frame, they were not really able to get much stirring in the Slovak end. Into the second, the score remained 0-0, and this period played a lot more evenly, steady back and forth action with some decent chances at both ends, but the goaltending remained perfect. Faton left the second with 21 stops in the game, while surprise starter Latkoczy stood his own ground with 15 saves of his own. Action began to erupt in the third as tension began to build. Chances were steadily coming by as both teams became slightly more frantic, and finally, after a smart play by the 16-year-old defenseman Simon Nemec, he joined the rush, and Roman Faith pounced on a rebound to break the scoreless game. It was going to be a dirty one to find at the back of Faton's cage. Great effort from Faith, you love to see it. Switzerland was not going to let off the pedal though. Late in the game, Slovakia began showing off some poor discipline, including a boarding call on Blue Jacket prospect Samuel Nazko. This was Latkoczy's time to shine, let's just say. Switzerland's pressure was immense, and the puck found its way to Inaki Baragano and a gaping cage. An easy snipe if it weren't only for the right-handed glove of Latkoczy, an astounding save that you'll see on the highlight reels for a hot minute. Minutes ticked off the clock, and after a couple more spectacular plays by Slovakia's defense, the Slovaks take game 1 of the tournament with a soccer score of 1-0. Slovakia's young core, surrounded by the likes of Uros Latkoczy and Martin Chromiak, really jumped on this game. Albeit, it was only 1-0, it was an exciting game nonetheless. The big question at the end, though, is going to be, what is the goaltending situation for the Slovaks? Do you stay with Latkoczy, or do you hop back to Lovey? They'll have time to think about this for their next game against Canada on the 27th. The second game we had of the day was Germany versus Finland, and it was not going to be an easy task for the Germans entering this contest due to their extended COVID quarantine on a portion of their team. They entered this game with 14 skaters, including their top prospects Tim Stützle and JJ Peterka. And with a beefy schedule ahead of them, the game plan is to conserve as much energy as you possibly can for the later games against Switzerland and Slovakia, where you have a chance to really win. In the meantime, though, this is a devious Finnish roster that lies ahead of them. Early in the first, after some sustained Finnish pressure, the captain, Anton Lundell, puts away the puck on a sweet dish from Sharks prospect Santeri Hataka to break the ice. Finland's onslaught would continue against the Germans, but goaltender Arno Tefensi did a good job holding his own, making 16 saves in the frame. They would have ended the period appropriately, but after Tefensi lost sight of the puck near his pads, Akurati batted a loose puck home to leave the period 2-0 up. Finland continued the pressure instantaneously in the second. Mikko Kakkonen had his point shot redirected by Mikael Pitchia to increase the lead to 3-0. But then, out of the blue, a wild Samuel Dubé would appear and put the Germans on the board after horrendously missing a prior chance. Great effort to keep up with it, and that's just a huge confidence booster for the entire team. Then, just like that, JJ Peterka and Tim Stützle find themselves on a 2-on-1 with Ville Heinola. And with no mistake, Stützle wires the wrister past Kari Pirinen to make it a 1-goal game. 14 people on the roster and it's a 1-goal game. This is pretty good. The tides were looking to turn, but the Finns suddenly stepped on the accelerator once more. 2 quick ones. Leafs prospect Topi Niemela would find the score sheet, later to be succeeded by a fluky one from Henri Nikkanen, pinballing it off a defender's skate. Ones I personally can't blame Tefensi on, simply they're just out of control for him. Finishing things off in the third, the Germans continued to show tremendous heart and soul despite their deplenished roster. Eventually this led to their third goal from Florian Elias, TFNC would shut the door the rest of the way too, ending up with 45 saves. The game would conclude 5-3 for the Finns, and I'm just going to say Finland shouldn't be too upset for snagging the 3 points, but an effort like that against a weaker team while they're missing 6 roster spots on top of that isn't what many would have expected. Huge props to the Germans for sticking in it though, especially in the third. Just for reference too, Tim Stützle played an astronomical 26 minutes, and defenseman Simon Nipp played nearly 29. Going forward with the full roster, I can see this German squad being a problem against Switzerland and Slovakia. Our final Christmas game was the good old matchup between the heated rivals of the US of A and the USS of R, two beefy rosters dressed to the nines and highly praised NHL prospects. The first period early on was all about Russia. It took the Americans to the halfway mark of the period to finally register their first shot. 8 minutes in though, it was the Russians striking first. A gentle tip from Shawinigan Cataract, Vasily Ponomarov, to put his nation on the score sheet. That goal really sparked the Americans to step up their game though, quickly registering chances in tight on Yaroslav Askarov, and all in all, it was the unlikely trickling point shot from Captain Cam York that snuck through Askarov's arm and into the back of the net. Askarov was able to regain some mojo back pretty quickly though, making every single man watching the game wince as he pulled out the splits to make a huge rebound save on Patrick Moynihan. We escaped the first period deadlocked at 1-1. Now things started to get hairy in the second. Bobby Brink blew an open net chance, and unlike Dubé in the last game, he wasn't able to redeem himself right away. Same play, Maxim Groshev lasers a 100-foot pass onto the stick of Zakhar Bardakov, who launched it 5-hole on Knight to make it 2-1. Soon after, we got to see a fun display from Cole Caulfield's arsenal of tricks, nearly pulling off an absolute worldie on the backhand. On the other end of the ice though, tragedy was afoot. A heavy Russian forecheck forced Jake Sanderson to play the puck into a wide open Ponomarov, who had no trouble firing home another one. A minute later, Knight made a poor decision, playing it up the boards right to Ilya Savanov's stick for a crack at the empty cage, and Knight was yanked after that error, leaving Everett Silvertip, Dustin Wolf to come to the rescue. Wolf would get one big chance from Groshev on the breakaway, making a butt-end save to keep the score at 4-1 at the end of the period. You knew the Americans were not going to let up though, that's not how they play. They came flying out of the gates in the third, a polar opposite team from the first 2 periods. This continued pressure landed them a goal from Muskegon lumberjack John Farinacci. Russia repeated to take some penalties and USA kept the pressure coming. With a brief 6-on-4 advantage, Trevor Zegras was able to wire home his first World Juniors goal and 10th World Juniors points. Yeah, it's kind of funny. 9 assists last year if you guys remember that. A perfectly placed shot that Askarov just couldn't even react to. The Americans would continue the push, but unfortunately a second 6-man advantage goal was not on the menu. Yegor Shenikov was able to power home an empty netter late in the game to seal it up 5-3 for Russia. Last thing I want to see is this American team to start dialing themselves over this loss, especially Spencer Knight. Like, just last year we saw Canada get pulverized by Russia in the group stage, only to go on to a historic victory against the very same team. Not trying to make predictions or set expectations, but this tourney is just getting started for this mental American team. This game should really get them mentally prepared for what's to come against Sweden and the Czechs. As for Russia, this is just a massive swagger boost to ride on for the rest of the round robin. And if you guys remember, we always like to do a little bit of top players at the end of each day. So, first off, I'm pretty sure it's quite obvious. Simon Latkoczy, 28 saves shutout. He didn't even know he was going to get the start and probably already the save of the tournament. Just like last year, the goal of the tournament was in the first day with Nils Hoglander's Michigan, so we got the save of the tournament most likely already. Second up, it's Tim Stützle. It's 26 minutes on the ice as a forward, along with getting a goal and an assist. Just a great day for the German forward. Hopefully he gets a good rest tonight. And then last but not least, it's Maxim Groshev for that crazy 100-foot laser pass that I mentioned earlier there. He played his heart out all night, and I think he was a big part of Russia's all-in-out victory. Overall, it was a lovely start to the tournament as usual. A shocking turn of event with Slovakia's triumphant victory, an extremely hard-fought game with the undermanned German squad, and a third-period nail-biter with the USA-Russia matchup. Personally, really excited to see my 2 favorite teams clash off tomorrow, Canada and Germany. It's just going to be a great Boxing Day all in all. I hope you guys had a great Christmas, and I hope you guys have a good rest of your holidays. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Have a good one.